And I'll never forget, I was standing in this little hallway right before my dad's office, and I looked him in the face and I said, Dad, I clicked the button and I shut down this entire business that was doing over $3 million a year, all because I wanted more freedom in my life.
This is the Unlock Success Podcast. We're helping entrepreneurs around the world dive deep into the keys you need to shatter excuses, believe in yourself, and help you achieve your highest goals. Here's your host, 8-figure entrepreneur and the living legend of internet marketing, Anthony Morrison.
Hey, welcome to this episode of Unlock Success. My name is Anthony Morrison. Super excited to have you here. I know some of you are watching this on video, some of you on audio, but I am really thrilled about today's topic, and that is what's more important, money or freedom? Money or freedom? What's more important to you? It's funny how things change, and it's funny how mindset changes. If you ask somebody this question, and let's say they're completely broke, right? Completely broke. They'll say money every single time. They'll say money is the most important thing because it's the thing that they don't have, right? And they say, hey, well, money gives you freedom. Well, yes, maybe not, right? I think that a lot of people that have built businesses, generated money, would probably tell you that money is pointless without freedom. And I know that I would probably be one of those that would tell you the same thing. I think if you looked at this in a different light, like if we were to get really dramatic with it, and I were to say, listen, would you rather me give you $1 million cash, or would you rather me let you out of jail if you were put in jail for a lifetime, right? What would you rather have? I think probably every inmate in prison would say, listen, I'd rather be out of jail. Forget the money, give me my freedom, right? But I think we don't often associate that. We don't get that dramatic with it when somebody asks this question. And I think real life experience is how we learn. For me, when I started my very first business online, it was an e-commerce business. And it was something that I just kind of thought of, and I just went with it, and I started running with it, and all of a sudden it grew, and I started making all this money. And before you know it, I had 2 cell phones. This was back in the day, so I had 2 cell phones. Both of them had call waiting. It was before you had the little ear pods and things that you could put in your ears, so I would always be walking around with them like this constantly, all day long, to the point where my brother, when he was younger, actually drew a picture of me and put it on my mom's kitchen, on the refrigerator of my parents' kitchen, of me like this, right? And it was the running joke that I was always on both cell phones at one time. Because back then, when you started a business online, you were tied to that business because most people didn't really buy online. They just shopped online. But if they wanted to buy something, they wanted to call you. They wanted to realize, okay, is this a real person? Is this okay? And so they would call. And I'll never forget, like for a good chunk of time, maybe 3 years of my life, I finally achieved the goal of making money. I was doing $300,000 a month in revenue with my business. I was a college kid, right? Like that's an amazing amount of money. Do $2-3 million a year. I was doing this out of an apartment, right? Or my bedroom at my parents' house. Like not a big operation at all. But I was tied to my business. I remember I was so successful. I made all this money. But I remember one day I went to a movie, and I remember I had my phones with me, and my phone started vibrating. I'm in the middle of a movie, and it was a movie I'd been waiting to see for so long. It was a movie that I really wanted to see. It was one of the Batman movies, and I really wanted to see it. I was really excited about it, and my phone rang, and I realized I was tied to my business. Like I didn't have the freedom to just watch the movie. Like I had to go take that phone call. I had to make that sale. I had to make that money, right? I was chasing the money, not the freedom. And I walked out, got on the phone, and took an order, probably made $50 or $60, and I missed such a big chunk of the movie that I wasn't able to ever get back into it. I had to actually wait for the movie to come out, right, DVD or whatever back then, to watch it at home because I had missed such a big chunk of it. And I lived my life like that for so long. On vacations, I would never get, my family vacationed to Destin, Florida, so to the beaches every summer. And I would never get in the water. The only way I would get in the water is if I was on a float, on a raft, with my laptop and my phones. And so oftentimes, every summer, you could see me just floating around in the swimming pool, on my computer. Now, most people would say, man, you're living your best life. You're free to do whatever you want, but that's not really true. For me, I wanted to be out in the ocean. I wanted to be swimming. I wanted to be jet skiing. I wanted to be doing something. And I was just trying to make the best of the situation that I was in, which was chasing money. I'll never forget the day that I decided to stop chasing the damn money and start chasing a little more freedom in my life. I had made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars actually at that point. And I thought to myself one day, I was standing in my parents' house in this little hallway that goes between the kitchen and my dad's office. And I was standing there, I was talking to my dad, and I said, Dad, I've made all this money. I've done all this great stuff, and I'm not happy. I don't get to do anything. I don't have any friends. I don't have a life. I don't have anything that I really want. I'm tied to chasing the money, and I have no freedom. I'm stuck on my phone. I was taking sometimes upwards of 150 phone calls a day. And I was dedicated though, right? Like I was dedicated. When I say unlock success, I'm talking about like I did whatever it needed, whatever success required, I gave it, right? My final 2 years in college, I had my cell phones in my pocket while I was in class. My phone rang. I walked out of class. I took orders on the phone. I memorized the entire catalog of everything we sold, how much it cost me, how much I could sell it for, what kind of cars it went on, all this stuff. And I had a notepad with me, and I would take customer orders all through class. So I was dedicated to the point where I was leaving my classes. I was always behind. I was still passing, but it was causing me, my whole life was impacted because I was chasing this money. And I told him, I said, I got to stop. I have to stop. And my dad said something to me. He said, well, son, listen, you're on one side of the fence. You're on this side where you're chasing money, but you don't have the freedom, right? And so you're not happy. He said, but I can tell you, I've been on the other side. He said, I've been on the other side of that fence. And he said, sometimes having all the freedom in the world, but no money can be equally as bad. Like you can be bored, you can be stressed. It causes a lot of stress in your life. Your life is a little bit more boring, right? You're not a happy person because you don't have the money to do the things that you really want to do. He said, you've got to find a balance. You've got to find a balance. You got to find a way to make money and still have freedom. Make enough money to have the success that you want to have and feel the way that you want to feel, but pull back a little bit so that you can have the freedom that you desire. And I started thinking about that, and I thought to myself, this is very true. And it really calls for finding a balance in your life, right? I go through this almost every day now that I'm 37 years old, I'm married, and I still try to find that balance between money and freedom, right? And I think it's something that as we're on this path to success, and as you're trying to create this success in your life, and no matter what level of success you have, let me tell you something. When you get to, you think you want to do 7 figures a year, and guess what? When you get to 7 figures, you're going to want 8 figures. When you get to 8 figures, you're going to want 9 figures. And that's just what happens, because when you have that entrepreneurial spirit, when you are that person that is used to succeeding and loves the feeling of success, you're never really satisfied. You always want to be a better version of you. If you were to sit here and tell me, okay, Anthony, I'm going to listen to your podcast. I'm going to watch these videos a year from now. And if I were to tell you that a year from now, I was going to be in the same place, doing the same thing, having the same level of success that I have today, that would be like catastrophic in my mind. Because I'm always trying to grow. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to do more, do better, higher levels, right? So as entrepreneurs, that's what we're programmed that way, to want more. But what we have to do is find this balance between how much more are we going after that's causing us to lose some of what we really need in life, which is our freedom and our happiness and our time with our families and the things like that. Like, you have to find that balance. It's like a seesaw, right? And it has to finally balance out. And sometimes it takes us years to get there. For me, back then, when I was standing in that hallway with my dad, I said, I'm going to give up this e-commerce business. I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to find a different business model that's going to make me money, but not cost me every single moment of my life to be tied to it. And that's what I did. I found a different business model online. It's affiliate marketing. I started doing affiliate marketing about 2 years after I'd started this e-commerce store. And within a year, I had that affiliate marketing business up to 6 figures a month. And I went back to my dad's office, walked down that same hallway, and I said, Dad, you're right. It's, freedom without money can be stressful and can be boring. So here's what I've done. I found a new way to make money online, and I want you to feel good. I want you to support me turning off this other business completely. And he said, you know what? You're going to have the best of both worlds, son. You're still going to make money, but you're going to have more freedom. I support you. And I went right in to this $300,000 a month e-commerce business. And I'll never forget, it was built on a platform called Monster Commerce back then. And they legitimately had a button at the top of it that just said store, and it said on off. And you could just toggle it off. And when you toggle it off, the store shuts down. And I went in and I went up to that button and I toggled it off. And it was the most liberating, the most exciting feeling I've probably had in my 15 years as an entrepreneur. Cutting that business off, not being tied to that business, not being like having every single ounce of freedom that I ever thought I might have stripped from me just so I could make money, just so I could build a business, just so I could say, look at how successful I am. And I cut that business completely off. So I turned off a $2 to $3 million a year business, all because I wanted more freedom. So if somebody asks you, what's more important, money or freedom? I don't think that the answer is either or. I think it is the perfect dose of each, right? And I think as entrepreneurs, we have to find where that perfect balance is. Back then, I got off the telephones. I started to have a little bit more of my life back, where I could spend time doing some things that I enjoy doing. But as we age, as we grow, as our businesses change and our businesses grow, our lives change, so do our responsibilities and our time and what we consider freedom. Like now in my life, I've at this point in my life, I've made well over $100 million from our businesses. I'm married, and now life's a little bit different. Now the freedom to just go, be able to go do the things that I want to do isn't really what we consider freedom. Now it's being able to spend quality time with my wife, being able to be involved with and focused on and really engaged in the things that maybe that she is doing, right? Which requires me to disengage from my business. And I think that's one of my biggest struggles right now, just as a person, as an entrepreneur, is still struggling with the freedom to spend my time doing other things being more important than spending that time doing something that can make me more money. It's just at a different level, right? So as you grow and as you become more and more and more successful, this whole idea of money or freedom, right, it changes. And the definition of that for you will change. It will be when you first start your business. For those of you that are listening or watching that you're first timers and you're kind of new, you're gung-ho, you're ready to start your business. Listen, you oftentimes give up a lot of freedom chasing the money, right? That's common. That's the common path that entrepreneurs take. They'll give up all the freedom in the world to make the money because you've never made any money, you don't have any money, you haven't got any savings, you don't have this big nest egg, as people call it, right, to fall back on. And so you're just in like pedal down, pedal to the metal road, right? Like that's the mode that you're in. And so it spikes, like money matters the most right now. Then you get to this point where you've made a lot of money, okay? You've made good money, and you start thinking, man, I wish I had some freedom. I wish I could go do this. I wish I could go do that. And guess what? You start to kind of go downhill, and you'll start to spend more time playing, more time doing things that are maybe not quite as productive, and you won't focus as much on the money. You'll focus way too much on the freedom, right? The freedom that all this money has given you. This is the trap, okay? This is the trap that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into. Make a lot of money and then go spend it all, because now money doesn't matter because, oh, you've got plenty of money. You're rich. You're going to be rich forever. Money's going to keep coming forever. And so you go spend it doing all of these things that you probably shouldn't be doing, wasting a lot of time, certainly not doing anything productive, and your business crashes, right? And you see this time and time and time and time and time again, right? It happens all the time. And it's because the people don't have a balance, a good balance of spending their time chasing money and then spending their time chasing freedom. It's an all or nothing for one or the other. And it can't be that way, right? It can't be that way if you want to have long-term sustainable success. Every friend that I have in business, and most of my friends end up being business people, right? Probably just because this is what I'm interested in. This is what I like. And so I have friends that are big time, internet marketers. I have friends that are big real estate investors. I have friends that are really big in the stock market stuff. I have friends that are huge in commercial real estate that own, $40 million buildings. And if you look at each one of them, they all have the same path. Almost every single person. They start out just with all this fire and vigor, and they just want massive success, and that's all that matters. And they get to a point where they made enough money, they've had enough success, and they start pulling back just a little bit, right? But the ones that maintain that success, the ones that keep their money, the ones that have that generational money, right? They don't pull back completely from their business and from the pursuit of money and just go blow it all and party. That's not what they do. They pull back just a little bit, and they pull back in the right places. They pull back so they can spend more time with their family. A lot of times people have children. All of a sudden that changes the dynamic. Now that freedom to spend time with your kids means a little bit more to you than anything else, right? So you start pulling back a little bit more from your business and a little bit more from that pursuit of money to spend more time over here, more freedom with your kids, right? And it's an evolution. You're constantly pulling back from where you started. The thing is that to be consistently successful, you have to know when to stop pulling back and when to have that balance. And I think that the most important thing that you can do if you're listening to and watching this today is have awareness. Be aware of where you're spending your time. Be aware of the reasons why you're spending your time there, right? And then make a list, make a log, right? What's truly important to you? What are things that you shouldn't miss, right? No matter what. Like, no matter what, I don't want to miss my mom's birthday. I don't want to miss my dad's birthday. I don't want to miss, Christmas. I don't want to miss. What are the things in life that you definitely don't want to miss, right? You make a list of those, and those are like non-negotiables, right? Money does not matter more than those things. Then you make a list of kind of secondary things. What are some things that you're willing to give up right now, okay? So that you can put forth that time and that effort and that energy into building your business and into having the success, like getting your business and your success off the ground. What are you willing to give up today to make that happen, right? Then, as you go along and as you create more and more success, okay, as you go from where you're at today to maybe where you'll be a year from now, you look back at this list and you say, okay, I've made it this far. My business is off the ground. I've got it rolling. I'm having some success. I'm making some money. I've got a little more, I'm a little further down this path now. I can pull back just a tad, not a ton, not all, not just pump the brake, but we can let off the gas pedal just a little bit. And you go back to that list of things that that are important to you, but you were willing to give them up, okay, to achieve the success that you wanted. You go back to those things and you pick one or two of those things off that list and you put those back into your life. You make time for those, and those become non-negotiables. Those are things where business does not matter, making money does not matter. When these things are happening or when these things when these opportunities are available, that's what you're going to do, right? This helps you create a very level balance, right? A very balanced approach to chasing money and chasing freedom, right? I think it's very, very important to be balanced. I don't think you should chase one more than the other. I think at different points in your entrepreneurial career and in your path to success, one's going to matter more than the other. But at the end of the day, the goal is to have these things even out so that you can have plenty of money to have all the freedom that you possibly want and be able to have all the success that you no doubt deserve. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Unlock Success podcast, and I look forward to seeing you next time.